I'm about to give you a completely original YouTube script inspired by the topic, not a rewrite. I'll lean into bold commentary, fresh framing, and my own take on why SZA's Iris cover matters in today's musical landscape. Let's dive in. From my perspective, the moment you see SZA take on a late 90s anthem like Iris, you're watching more than a cover, you're watching a cross-generational conversation unfold in real time. What makes this really interesting is how a nostalgic track can sound almost futuristic when filtered through a contemporary artist's voice and production choices. Personally, I think covers like this aren't about recreating the original so much as reinterpreting its DNA for a new audience. This is a chance to test how timeless melodies hold up when you smush them with modern textures, trap drums, lo-fi warmth, and ethereal synths, so the song breathes differently but still feels intimate. The hook here is simple. Iris is a memory lane magnet, a song that surfaces in viral collages and 90s nostalgia trips. SZA doesn't just imitate the vibe, she inserts her own emotional weather into the track. For me, that shift, the way her voice stretches, the way the beat intentionally dips and swirls, reveals how durable a well-written ballad can be when you give it new scaffolding. One thing that immediately stands out is how the tempo and mood tilt toward vulnerability rather than fatigue. If you've listened to the originals 100 times, this version feels like a fresh bruise that still heals you somehow. Idea 1: the trend as a socio-cultural signal. The viral collage format, photos from the 90s paired with reflective captions, functions like a collective memory exercise. It invites younger listeners to curate a personal archive and invites older fans to feel seen in a new context. What this really suggests is that the public longing for tangible nostalgia is not about replication, it's about belonging to a shared era, even as we remix it. From my point of view, SZA's entry into the trend is a meta move. She takes the vibe of a retrospective moment and channels it through a present-day artist's sensibility. What people don't realize is that the power of this moment isn't the photo reel, it's the emotional throughput, the way a song can ferry us between then and now in a single minute. Idea 2: the production pivot. SZA's cover leans into trap drum energy, submerged in lo-fi gloss, with dreamy synths hovering like a memory fog. This reframing matters because it demonstrates how genre can act as a conversation with the past rather than a straight homage. In my opinion, the choice to keep the core melody while reskinning the arrangement signals a broader trend. Classic pop ballad cores are increasingly treated as platforms for experimental texture. What this implies is that audiences are hungry for reimaginings that respect the original's heart but invite it to breathe in new air. People often misunderstand this as desecration of a classic. I'd argue it's validation. Trust that the song's core resonance is strong enough to survive a risky makeover. Idea 3: the star factor. SZA doesn't need a new hit to validate her artistry, she uses the cover to deepen public perception of her range. The moment Goo Goo Dolls reply with heart emojis signals a cross-generational handshake, fans of the original nodding along, while newer listeners hear SZA's interpretation. What makes this really interesting is how a cover can act as a bridge between audiences who might not otherwise share a musical vocabulary. If you take a step back and think about it, this isn't just a cover, it's a strategic artistic statement about versatility and cultural presence. A detail I find fascinating is how social media treats these moments as both a performance and a collaborative event, the original artists, the cover artist, and the audience all co-authoring a tiny piece of the musical conversation. Deeper insight: this move sits inside a broader movement. Songs from the late 90s and early 2000s resurfacing through modern reinterpretations. It's a trend that blends legacy with streaming-era discoverability. The billion-plus streams on Iris by 2022, and its continued cultural footprint, show that great songs don't fade, they accumulate new life when reintroduced with fresh textures and visuals. That context helps explain why labels, artists, and platforms lean into these moments. What this really suggests is that memory, platform, and production technique have become tightly coupled engines for reviving catalogs in a saturated musical ecosystem. Closing thought: if nostalgia is a map, Iris is a compass pointing toward how artists can navigate eras without losing themselves. SZA's version isn't just a remix, it's a conversation with a classic that asks, what if the past stays with us, but becomes compatible with who we are today? My takeaway: the strongest covers are not about erasing the original, they're about bending it just enough to reveal a new facet of the artist performing it. So here's the question for you: do you prefer your classics left untouched, or do you relish these bold reinterpretations that reframe what a song can be? If you enjoyed this take, I'll do deeper dives into more cross-era collaborations and unpack how production choices shape our memory of a tune. Tell me in the comments, which classic would you love to hear reimagined by today's artists, and in what genre or mood? Would you want a version that leans even heavier into trap, or something more acoustic and intimate? Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next breakdown.